What's up, everybody? It's Jason Cruz here with another episode of The Legal Submission, and this is a big one because the Kung Le-Zuffa antitrust lawsuit appears to be heading on its way to a final settlement. The judge, Judge Richard Bulwer, on Tuesday preliminarily approved a $375 million settlement between the party plaintiffs in the Kung Le class action lawsuit against Zuffa. So what that means basically is that the Cage and Johnson lawsuit against Zuffa still remains. That antitrust action still remains. It is not a class action yet. But that still remains, and we'll learn about that more as the year goes on. Probably by the end of the year, we'll learn something about it. But the Kung Le case seems to be over. Now, there is a need for a fairness hearing to determine the attorney's fees as well as the costs of the attorneys that represented the Kung Le plaintiffs. And that will be approximately $130 million, no more than 33% of the total gross settlement of $375 million. So according to a tweet by my buddy Paul Gift, approximately $240 to $260 million to the Zuffa fighters who are part of the class from December 2010 to June 2017. And the lawyers will come up with their cost and fee bill, and at a hearing yet to be determined, the Judge Bulwer will go ahead and look over those fees and will likely approve them. There is haggle here and there on some of that stuff, but for the most important part regarding the plaintiffs in this class action lawsuit, they will get a settlement check. Now, you should probably, if you are a fighter, you should go to the website that the MMAFA has set up for you to ensure that you get paid properly. The payments will not go out until June 2025. There is logistics regarding the settlement at this point. Once it is finally approved, once Judge Bulwer goes ahead and grants that, the monies will go into, I believe, an account an escrow account that then will pull the money and pay the fighters according to the plan that was proposed by both parties. Now, this ends an almost 10-year legal battle between the Kung Le plaintiffs and the UFC, and it's taken some twists and turns. There was a trial that was supposed to go on February 2nd, 2025. Fortunately, that is off the calendar at this point, and we should see the end of that case. Now, obviously, one of the things that you think about after a case is settled is who won and who lost. Obviously the plaintiffs won here, and you could definitely talk about the fact that there could have been more money to the plaintiffs, to the fighters, if they had gone to trial because of the treble damages component. The estimates were originally between $850 million and $1 billion, but now they had settled for $375 million. Still very good for the plaintiffs because, as they pointed out in the declarations, there was a potential chance that Zuffa would string this along and not and fight this to the bitter end, which they, if in all intents and purposes, they were going to do. For Zuffa, it's not that bad of a thing. The settlement, that is. They were originally going to give the fighters in both 325. That was denied by Judge Boulware this past summer, and now they went up $50 million to $375 million to settle the Lee class of plaintiffs. Now, if you are Zuffa's counsel, you're probably think that this is a win as well, simply because the costs of going to trial would have shot up exponentially, as well as the threat of somehow losing a court battle and being hit with a treble damages judgment. Notwithstanding the fact that they would appeal the decision, the amount of money that they would have had to expend for legal costs would have been dramatic. So for them, that is good. The Cajun Johnson case obviously is still looms, although it does seem at this point that it was the lesser of concern for both the litigants in this particular class. Some other things I wanted to point out. It was very helpful, according to Judge Boulware, that the declarations came in, because there was a substantial amount of declarations that the plaintiffs had provided detailing the stories of the plaintiffs and how they live day to day, that many do not have health insurance, do not have steady jobs. Obviously, Shane Carwin and Wanderlei Silva's declarations stood out because that they are having issues with their memories, potential, I don't know if they've been diagnosed, but potential head trauma issues regarding CTE, perhaps CTE. I don't know for a fact, but perhaps CTE. But obviously, both of them contend that they suffer from physical daily issues. Carwin, who has an engineering degree, cannot hold down an engineering position. Definitely sad stories, and that human element did persuade Judge Boulware to settle the case. He according to a Josh Gross tweet, he found it quite significant that the declarations had a role in his decision at the time. At the time of making his decision to settle the case. Now, I think that this is a win for the plaintiffs, and from a legal perspective, you sit back and wonder about now the estimations of wage level and wage share, which was predominant in determining whether or not the class of fighters were harmed. Now, this makes no bearing in the Lee case, but from cases going forward, now that this will be something that parties, not just in MMA or sports, but they will look to as far as a long-term legacy of this particular battle. For the people that have been looking at this case over the past 10 years, it's good that it's over. Simply for the fact that now at least there is something that can be gained here, some monetary gain that can be extracted from the claims that they had, the anti-competitive claims by the UFC. From the UFC's perspective, the change the landscape of the MMA industry never happened, is not happening. There have been changes made, but the UFC's business as usual approach will still, for the most part, go forward. We will see the long term. I mean, obviously at the end of the year we'll have some more reflection about this, but we will see the long term effects of this potential settlement, as well as in the end what will happen with the Cage and Johnson lawsuit. There are fighters that belong to both classes, so we will see what will happen. As for now, the fighters and Zuffa in the Kung Lee lawsuit have settled their case for $375 million asterisks. It still has to be officially signed off by Judge Boulware, but for all purposes, there will be no trial in February. This is Jason Cruz with Legal Submission. MMApayout.com is where you could find all of my writings. MMA Payout is the Twitter handle. Thank you very much. Have a good one.